Welcome to the Beach Brothers Show, Virginia business and politics. It's time to get beachy. Conrad is our political analyst and master chess instructor. So contact Conrad to appear on our show. Jose Cruz is our bilingual beach bully, our bilingual business bully. Contact him to feature your business on our show. I'm Seko Varner. I have consulting, entertainment, and credit repair services. I produce the Beach Brothers Show. You want to give a salute to Tally and Twine. It's time for you to have a high quality watch made in Virginia, made in Portsmouth, Virginia, from Tally and Twine. We want to say thanks to Southern Volkswagen Greenbrier for their great level of sponsorship. If you need a new car, you don't need to go far. Southern Volkswagen Greenbrier. And ladies, if you want your brows to say, wow, check out IamLitaWe.com. Microblading by IamLitaWe.com. I'm Seko Varner. I do credit fixes, tax resolutions. I lend private money to real estate investors, and we do debt consolidations. If you need any of these services, contact me as provided. And now it's time to get beachy on the Beach Brothers Show. Yeah, time to get beachy. How are you feeling today, bro, Conrad? Well, unmute yourself and then you can say some good words.
I still
bro.
have the opening theme in my head, so I still feel pretty good up top. But, you know, I ran mile repeats today at Lansdowne High School, so the entire lower body is sore as just all get out. So half and half is what I'll go with today.
Okay. Well, tonight's a business show for us, right? It's a business show. We're not doing political stuff.
No
it's just strictly
tonight.
Business tonight. All right. So who do we have coming on with us tonight, good brother?
Well, our introduction tonight is going to be for a Portsmouth resident and businesswoman, Sebrina Brown. She runs a talk show called Girlfriend's Tea. The show interviews and promotes women who are inspiring and make a difference in their community. And as we bring her on tonight, we're going to lead off with, I guess, a basic question, Miss Sebrina, and that would be, how did you get started with Girlfriend's Tea?
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Conrad and Seko. Happy to be here with the Beachy Brothers.
We're very beachy tonight.
Let's get beachy. The Beachy Brothers. I love the background, by the way. I love the background of knowledge. Well, Girlfriend's Tea, to answer your question, Conrad, got started as a result of COVID-19. I'm a COVID-19 baby like so many others. And, you know, due to the pandemic, I was going to have tea with a girlfriend. And I decided, hey, it'd be safer to have it via Zoom. So initially, it was just something to do, tea via Zoom, where I invited some young ladies. But they enjoyed it so much, and I did, that I decided to continue in it. So as I continued in it, it was more so a hobby. But as I saw myself taking a liking to it, I decided to establish it as an LLC, as a talk show. And so it kind of stems from my experience from where I retired, the United States Postal Service.
What would you say has been your response to Girlfriend's Tea? What does it become?
Oh, it's wonderful. It really is. And I'm not just saying that. It is encouraging to have the women, and even we've had a couple of men on the show. Actually, on Saturday, I'm interviewing a couple, my pastors, Bishop B. Courtney and Lady J. Macbeth. They will be the first couple on Girlfriend's Tea, but I've had a male on Girlfriend's Tea. I had a sponsor first, and we'll talk about that, how I monetize Girlfriend's Tea. I had a sponsor, a male sponsor, and my hairdresser, small business owner, Texture Defined, Dennis Guerrero, happened to be featured on the show. But the response has been fabulous. I'm grateful and I'm honored to have the small community that we have and to have women give me the feedback.
Well, we kind of like visionaries here in Hampton Roads. we know that you're a visionary. So what would you say is your vision with the show itself?
Well, obviously, everybody wants to expand. The vision is to expand into what the industry would say is A-listers, having A-listers on the show. But ideally, my goal, yes, like you.
Us. Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll be on the show. We'll be on the show.
My goal is to grow from the feedback that I get, to become better at what I do, and not so much better at asking questions, but better at targeting those topics that the women will be able to glean something from, because it is an educational talk show. It's not entertainment. We're there to learn. Usually I will have entrepreneurs. They may be someone who works for an employer, but they're good at their craft. So there are a variety of topics. We've had women come on and share their testimony about battling with illness and how they tried alternatives that benefited them. And as a result of those alternative products, like Glennis Albright, she decided to develop products that were holistic. We've had an array of speakers, so I could go on about that, but I don't think that's your inquiry here. The vision for Girlfriends Tea, well, before I established the LLC, when I got the logo, it was the logo. I asked a graphic artist, that's another small business that I support, a young man, I gave him what I wanted. He just came up with this nice teacup logo that I absolutely love. And as a result of me seeing the logo be what I had envisioned, I said, okay, I see products. I see this logo on products. So that's the vision for Girlfriends Tea. I'm just starting out, currently have them on mugs, hats, jackets. And so I have some other products that I will be putting in that line. And I'm also working on a tea. Gotta have a tea, Girlfriends Tea. So I actually have 25 samples sitting in my house now for about a week that I haven't tasted yet. So I'm going to have a few friends over. We'll be 6 feet apart in my humble abode, and I will ask them to taste it and let me know what they think about it, the different flavors.
Okay. Yeah, I can see a lot of opportunity with Girlfriends Tea, but it looks like you've developed a bit of a culture. So
yes.
Break down the culture of the show for us.
I can show you better than I can tell you. Fun. That's what we do. Fun. We have fun. I'm just serious. I just love it. We get in the tea room and I invite the ladies in, and they just, if they want to network, they do, but we're just saying hello. It's an opportunity to get to know people. I have a conversation starter every week. It's just on the page. And if you want to, the conversation starter for this week is, what is your go-to sitcom or show that makes you laugh? And I'm just amazed. One of them said Andy Griffith. And I was like, what? Andy Griffith? So mine is Seinfeld. And it's just nice. It's just small talk to keep the culture going, keep the women going. And one of the questions I asked, what was their favorite board game? So I'm going to have that board game. We're going to play that board game. It might be a version of Monopoly, or just something that we do to keep ourselves together, funsy stuff, while we wait for the educational topics.
I would be a stickler for the board game Risk, but that's just me throwing that out there. Tea leaves are green, of course, but another green is money. How do you like the idea of monetizing the idea of Girlfriends Tea and growing it that way?
That was difficult initially for me, because when you're doing something you enjoy that you would do for free, people will ask you, okay, is it a business? And so they got me going, or is it a hobby? And I was like, no, it's a business. Well, how are you monetizing it? So it took me a minute to monetize it, basically because I wanted to ensure that when I approached sponsors that I was on my A game, or at least getting to the A game part, improving the technology, making sure I understood Zoom, etc. So now I do have, and it's it really is very affordable for what you get. I have a sponsorship package. I have one major sponsor who's on my page now, and my website actually I'm going to do a premiere for my website on Thursday. It'll be 8 months in, and I'm just doing my website. But the reason for that, I had the website since I started the business, but I wanted to wait until I had enough speakers, some material to put onto the website. So I will premiere that next week, next Thursday. But I do have a major sponsor on there, Ivy Hill Technologies. I'm small business. I do support small business. Dina Eaton, she is the 56% owner. And I'm so proud of her because she left a very lucrative position as vice president of a company to step out on her own contracting business as a Black female. And she just won, maybe within the past 6 months, a $14 million contract. She and her partner, they do HR and IT. So I monetize it by offering small businesses an opportunity to sponsor a show. Their slide, which contains their business name and their contact information, of course, their photo goes into that promo. I guarantee them 5 runs on that. And also they get to come in the tea room and wave at the audience. But the big part is that I give them 10 minutes to talk about their business. They come back. It's not an interview. I just introduce them and I say, you can do whatever you want for 10 minutes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I like the way you're moving. I like the direction. Who have been some of the guests so far? You mentioned Bishop McBath coming up soon. So
he's gonna be
talk
on
about
Saturday.
that. All right, but who else?
Okay, you want me to talk about Bishop McBath? You asked me to talk about that?
Well, I just mentioned him as an example, but who else has been on the show?
No worries. Okay, well, we've had Tori Salter. She's out of Chicago. She's a financial manager. She works primarily, I would say exclusively, with professional athletes. So she manages, I would say, high dollar customers. And we've also had Glynis Albright. She's actually Gerald Albright's wife. So you might be familiar with saxophonist Gerald Albright. But she has her own business called Glynis's Kitchen. We've also had Connie Jackson. Some of you know Connie Jackson with Honey Lemon Ginger. We've had Dr. Dawn Bell. She's a podiatrist. Love. I love all the discussions, but I loved it when we talked about dangerous stilettos because I still love my heels. And as I told my chiropractor, I will keep you in business just a tad longer because I'm not giving up the heels. But we've had Councilwoman Sebrina Wooten and, of course, Councilwoman Sabrina Wooten of Virginia Beach, who you all are familiar with. There's just been a plethora of guests. We've talked about autism with Deborah Vines. We've had Becky Van Velen. She's a counselor. Regina Marscheider, talk about, she's with the Stop Abuse organization. So she advocates against abuse towards children. We've just had so many people. I don't want to leave anyone out. I'm trying to get down them. Olga Torres, she's been on. So we've had a lot of women on. And we are a diverse in group. And Lieutenant Arabia Shanklin in the Navy.
If I recall, Olga Torres is part of the Minority Business Council in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So she's very prominent. And someone who also came from that is Councilwoman Wooten, who we're mutual friends with. And I understand you also helped her this year. Could you expand on that a little bit, your personal dealings?
Oh yes, I enjoyed working. I worked with her on the initial campaign where she won by a landslide in that first one. I mean, she actually won every precinct, and it was an amazing testimony, really seriously, of God, because when you have such a small skeleton crew and you take every precinct, of course, this year was not that case, but she still won nevertheless. So what I do for Councilwoman Wooten, I'm her community liaison. So as people contact her, not everyone, but she will refer some people to me, and I'll make contact with them and just get a little bit more information on them, inviting her out to speak. So I'll gather that for her and accompany her. And then, of course, I oversee the volunteers when she needs volunteers. But it may sound like a little bit, but it's a lot because Councilwoman Sebrina Wooten is very busy. She's very active, very active. Yes, she's in demand and she's accessible. So that makes a difference.
She's definitely a friend of the show. I would definitely
she's
say
definitely
that.
a friend of the show. Yep. Wow.
Yeah, I'm very proud of her.
We're proud of you.
We are here too.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is putting on shows like the Beach Brothers Show and Girlfriends Tea has, its challenges. So what's been the most challenging aspect of your show so far?
Wow. I don't know. I can't really say. It's just for me because my format is some people would say edgy. I remember when I shared it with an entrepreneur whom I really respect a lot. And I said, you know, it's girlfriends. It's called Girlfriends Tea. So I want the women to be visible. I want them to come on with me. I want them to be in the green room, as we call it, in the virtual green room with me. And when you have people or guests, attendees who aren't familiar with Zoom in the beginning, I had more challenges with people starting their video during the live, you know, because it's not a webinar, which is not good when you're in the middle of a live and they don't even know they're live because they don't know they're on their cell phone and just driving away. And then we have to stop the video, or they may unmute during the live. So that's been the biggest challenge for me. But with any talk show, of course, you want to have the pulse of your target market. You want to make sure that you have an audience. You want to have an audience for your guests. So that's always at my forefront. You know, am I going to have an audience for this topic? Of course, there's going to be some topics that are more popular than others. I mean, when you're talking about hair, we had Dennis Guerrero. The platform was lit, but you're talking about hair. You know, everybody wants to know, especially if the stylist is a great stylist. But I am very pleased with the reception that we've had for the guests. So the average level, I'm pleased with, but there's always room for growth.
What would you say happens to be your most rewarding aspect of doing this show that started back because of COVID and now we're here in December? What is rewarding right here in the chest about Girlfriend's Tea to you?
You know, Conrad, it's the intangible things. When women message me and say how much they appreciate Girlfriend's Tea, I'm just amazed. One of my church friends, she told me that she was out picking up a meal, and she overheard some women at a table talking about Girlfriend's Tea, you know, of course, in a positive way. She went over and introduced herself, and I just loved it when she said she was so proud to say, well, I know her personally, and I can say that, you know, she's always that way. So that was very rewarding. But the most rewarding part was when I had Regina Marshiter on talking about child sexual abuse, whether, you know, be sexual or physical abuse. And it was a very serious subject. And you never know who's in the green room with you. A friend of mine had invited her friend. And at the end of the show, just as I was about to wrap it up and had all the ladies out, the young lady came. She said, may I ask a question? And I said, sure. And that's when she just started bawling about how she was sexually abused. Oh my gosh. And how nobody knew. And so, of course, we knew, people know now, how nobody knew. And it was very traumatic. And I ended up connecting her with Regina. And Regina referred her for professional help. But she also shared that she was going to commit suicide. She was considering committing suicide. So you don't expect to get things like that, that heavy. But when she started crying, I mean, I'm live, I prayed for her. So I'm learning that, you know, you have to be prepared for those type scenarios and be responsible when you have those type scenarios.
I think it's perfect that you have that scenario. It's important that we have healing spaces. And it looks to me like you've created an healing space. You know, I've seen a lot of organizations that do things for people, but when people really show their true need, they kind of fall back. But you're falling in, you're leaning in, you're moving in, you're praying in. I think that's what needs to happen.
And you mentioned pray. I'm sorry. When you mentioned pray, it reminds me that I've started, this is maybe my fourth week. I do prayer every Friday morning from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. I'm in the room. If somebody comes in, great. If they don't, but I'm praying for the women of Girlfriend's Tea and whatever the Lord lays on my heart for the world and everything else, myself and my family. But I do it because you never know. And for the first time last week, this past Friday, I just said, Lord, send them, you know, whenever you send them, I'm just going to be here. 2 women were in the room, and it greatly encouraged my soul to have somebody in the room with me as I prayed.
Ashe. Hey, look, so people can find Girlfriend's Tea with Sebrina on Facebook And I know there's just no way if I click this, it's not going to let me join. I'm too masculine. Too much testosterone.
We have a couple male members, but it's one of them is because they've been on the show. So they're on the show, and I'm going to have this person back, Dennis. And so he interacts, of course, but they don't interact other than that. They don't want to be called girlfriend. You know, even my male sponsor was a part of the show, and he just departed. So yes, it's for but I want to share, Seko, that the Facebook group is private. So it's for women only. But when I go live on YouTube because I'm a man, but you just maybe want to see the show. You don't want to be there during the week when we're interacting girlfriend to girlfriend. So I go live on YouTube, which is public. Sometimes I share the link on my private page. So you can see the show with no problem.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that. Let's pull that up so people can know how they can find you on YouTube. If people want to find you on YouTube as well. You
just search Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina. I only have 30+ subscribers. So if you're a YouTuber, please subscribe to my channel, Girlfriends Tea. I would greatly appreciate it because I need some followers. There I am.
Okay. I'll go ahead and subscribe.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll have to subscribe to your channel. You have to let me know where you are. I don't have every interview loaded up. Some of them just kind of make me laugh because that was before I knew how to work Zoom. I would ask people, could you stop your video and all of that. So now I know how to do it, but I'm going to put them up anyway.
Okay. Yeah, do that. All right. Who is Toy Salter, President Salter Financial? Oh, you talked about her earlier. Okay.
Yeah, she's the one that interviewed the athletes. So, that interview, she's a financial representative for athletes and some celebrities.
And a domestic violence interview with the Her Shelter.
Yes, with the Her Shelter, Olivia Smithberger. I used to be on the board of the Her Shelter. So that was a personal, well, I would say close to my heart topic. So I was happy to have her on. We also had a panelist of women who are survivors of domestic violence. And I also honored some breast cancer survivors. Dillard's is a partner with Girlfriends Tea. So Dillard's provided excellent gifts to the breast cancer survivors and the domestic violence survivors. And also this Saturday at 2:00 p.m. at Dillard's MacArthur, where the women of Girlfriends Tea will be in a fashion show to, of course, help Dillard's get some press and also help the women of Girlfriends Tea do what they do, wear clothing well.
Well, we already know you're going to win that show.
Oh, it's not a contest. We don't compete. The women in Girlfriends Tea, we don't compete. We're on the same page.
Speaking of pages, I've just subscribed as well.
Thank you so much. Spread the word.
Indeed. I would like to acknowledge again that this is a brainchild of yours this year, and you've done so much with it already. What would be something you would like to do with it, perhaps branch out into other things with it? The world is your oyster with Girlfriends Tea. So what might you like to do in 2021 with it?
That's interesting. Well, actually, what I'm focusing on now in April, it will be my 1-year anniversary. So I would love to have, and I know that's not futuristic, but that's where I am right now. But COVID has put a damp on that, and I'm just kind of tired of virtual, but I may have to do virtual, but maybe not, because if I can do it outside, I would love to finally meet some of the women of Girlfriends Tea. We've seen each other virtually, but I would love to meet them and have an opportunity to have tea with them and scones and lunch and just connect while being socially distanced and being safe with our masks. But Conrad, I'm kind of mulling that over now, as far as I just want to see the growth in me, and not just numbers, but the growth in me and being able to connect, having the right women come before, women and men, of course, but mostly women, come before Girlfriends Tea, and just making sure that they're getting something out of it. I know that they're there and they're gleaning from the speakers, but I want to make sure that I'm involving the audience. That's why I want to do the panels and have them on, so that every woman in Girlfriends Tea who has a voice will feel, okay, this is my voice. This is where I can have a voice about what I do. And of course, there's standards. All of us want to be good at what we do. we want to have perfected our craft. So we're not just, and I say we because I have a team, we're not just, throwing women out there just for them to have the spotlight. Obviously, we're responsible about who we put before the members of Girlfriends Tea. But I do want to acknowledge my team, my co-hosts, Tamika, Kirkland Watts. I am just there. I can't describe it. To have someone, we're friends, but we didn't know each other as intimately as we know each other now from working together. And I cannot applaud her professionalism enough. She's on time, she's bright, and the women just love her. And that means a lot to me.
Definitely. Our show, the three of us, Seko, Jose, and I, we're based in Virginia Beach. But we want the show to be a strong part throughout Hampton Roads, just like you would with Girlfriends Tea.
Right.
You're in Portsmouth, and you know your way around the 757. Can you speak on some great businesses, be it in Portsmouth or other parts of Hampton Roads, that really you really like and that it's great to you?
Oh, I love Cafe Europa. I had actually, I used to do a ladies' luncheon. I call them the founders of Girlfriends Tea. They're not technically the founders, but everybody needs a support system. So they were the first attendees. But Cafe Europa in Portsmouth, the food is superb. The chef is Czechoslovakian. He's from Czechoslovakia. Outstanding. The women just raved about it. And also Jimmelin. We Care. Everybody knows Jimmelin Hewlett. If you don't, get to know Jimmelin, because poolside cooking, We Care, her juice bar, her group home, her hair salon, and now she's going to do a poolside cooking studio. So she's just on the ball. I love supporting her. She's very supportive. And of course, my hairdresser, Dennis, he's in Norfolk, Dennis Guerrero with Texture Defined. My handyman, he lives in Norfolk. So I support a lot of the guy who cuts my grass. I'm very loyal. If the service is good, I'm very loyal. I will stay with those businesses. In La Yaca, it's not, they have one in Williamsburg, but they're not a big enterprise. I love La Yaca. I love 350 Grace, Chef Willie Moats in Norfolk. I'm a regular there, a huge supporter of them, and look forward to having a Girlfriends Tea event there. And so there's several businesses.
All right. Well, what's your favorite restaurant in the Hampton Roads area?
Well, I love 350 Grace. So
okay.
If Willie sees this, I know you didn't mention 350 Grace, but there are many that I love. I haven't been eating out a lot now because of COVID. I really have not. And I love La Yaca. I love La Yaca for lunch. But I definitely support 350 Grace, probably more than any other establishment. And I love Cobalt Grill. Chef Alvin, outstanding, over in Hilltop. Love Cobalt. And I also like the Italian restaurant Aldo's. I love their lamb chops. Outstanding.
Okay. Yeah, so tell me about 350 Grace. This is my first time hearing about them.
Oh, the decor. I mean, it's beautiful. The service. Chef Moats and his wife. I mean, they're stellar. I enjoy eating, and the food is delicious. What I like, and I hope I'm representing them correctly, but what I do like is that they go shopping. It's like from farm to table, from store to table. They go shopping every day. And so on their menu, they make, let's say they have sweet potatoes, but if the sweet potatoes aren't fresh or to their standard, you'll get something else. So they go every day for the vegetables, and so colorful, gluten-free, totally gluten-free. And the service is outstanding.
Got to be honest, I hadn't heard of them either. So, and this is good to be brought forth with another great restaurant in Hampton Roads. So that is definitely something I want to check out.
It's in the Ghent area. I don't know how long you all have lived in Hampton Roads, but do you remember Pasha's, where Pasha's was?
Yeah.
Well, it's right near the Mermaid Winery. It's in that section, the one in Norfolk. But it's in Ghent, and you have to go. They have an outdoor area, and I think the max he can sit out there comfortably during COVID is 8. I'm not sure, but I was eating there all the time and having parties there all the time.
Okay. Well, speaking of those great businesses, we want to highlight some of our sponsors who are also great businesses in the Hampton Roads area.
I'm going to lead off, of course, with Southern Volkswagen in Chesapeake, 1248 South Military Highway. It's where I got my Jetta, which took me to Lansdowne today to do those laps. If you want to do laps around the 757 and get you a nice car, go to Southern Volkswagen in Chesapeake, speak with Cynthia Rawlings and Charlie Roy, and take laps around this great region of Tidewater.
Okay. I'm trying to work on my health and wellness. And, it's not just what you eat, what you take in. It's also what you put on your skin and what you put in your hair. And so commonsenseforyou.org has a plethora of great products that can really help you. Here's one of their soaps. And I tell you, this soap, man, it smells good. It feels good. They also have what is it? It's a bug off. It's something that prevents bugs from getting on you. And I use it over the summertime. And I tell you, they also have a herbal tooth powder. And so if you go to commonsenseforyou.org, commonsenseforyou.org, you can find all their great stuff. Check out their websites, commonsenseforyou.org. And I'm telling you, you'll really be happy with what they have to offer. And lastly, to promote my services, I do consulting. And part of my consulting deals with funding. So if you're a real estate investor, I can help you obtain 90% acquisition for your fix and flips or buy and holds, and 100% of your rehab costs. This is one of my happy friends. Used to be a client, now he's one of my best friends. I was able to provide him with 90% acquisition and 100% rehab for his services. And now let's get back to this tea. We're sipping the tea.
And I should have had my mug here because I always open my show with thanks for joining me for a cup of tea.
Okay.
But I'm on your show, so I didn't have it.
Well, she's being beachy today.
Yeah, you can enjoy some tea on a beach. So there's that. I think, though, that we're out of the great questions that we had for you tonight. I would like to.
Well, you did ask me. You asked me what other business ventures that I had, and now when I get Girlfriend's Tea, or had in mind when I get Girlfriend's Tea, where I would like for it to be, then I will start, which hopefully will be soon. I would start focusing on my site, SebrinaBrown.com, because my tenure within the Postal Service, I coordinated a lot of events. I love event planning. I love public speaking. I wrote speeches for mid-level managers. And so what I'd like to do is do some public speaking routes and customer service. I think it's so important. A lot of businesses, we start our businesses, but we don't have a customer service plan. We don't. We do marketing, but what is your plan for resolving problems? What is your plan for being timely with customers? It goes a long way. What Walmart did, the founder of Walmart, Chick-fil-A, it goes a long way to have exceptional customer service.
You know what? When you go into Chick-fil-A, they are some of the most highly trained customer service agents.
I love them.
Yeah. I'm noticing that Arby's is doing something very similar.
Really?
Yeah. Now I like Arby's food, so when I go in there and they're like, "Oh, pleased to have you here."
Okay. I haven't been to Arby's in a while, so I'm gonna have to see if this is beyond just that one location.
It might just be that one location. So what are some customer service tips that you can share with our listeners, your listeners, the tears? I don't know what you call them. You call them the girlfriends, the tears,
yes.
The girlfriends? Okay. All right.
What you want to do is give, and I experience this all the time, even though it may be painstaking, give the customer the option of having their voice heard. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you talk to an associate and they'll say, nobody has ever brought that. Like you're the only one complaining. And I'm like, really? No. If I say something, then it's significant, because I don't approach someone over something that's minor. So you don't cut them off. You allow them to have a voice, but you also respond to them. You should respond within 24 hours. I know we have it easy via email. You can use your automated system to say, I'll be back with you. That's better than nothing. Give them an opportunity to have a voice and have a plan. Have a plan and be honest. If it's something you don't know how to resolve it, or it's a technical difficulty, be honest with that. Pleasantry goes a long way. Just hearing a customer out and being pleasant, it goes a long way. And you want to add value. What do you want it's not just the customer service, it's the customer experience. What do you want them to experience? Mm-hmm. I want the women of Girlfriends Tea to experience a community that's connected. When I did the call for the models on Girlfriends Tea, I didn't ask my clique. I just put it out there for everybody. You want to be a model? There was no qualifier. In that case, that's just fun. But when it comes to being a guest on the show, that's different. What is your craft? Are you good at it? Because I want to make sure that I'm presenting professionals, not just someone who is professional in demeanor, but you have the experience, because I want the best for the women of Girlfriends Tea. So even by my own standard, the women that I interview on Saturdays, they're trailblazers. I've had the Honorable Stephanie Morales on, and as I said, so many others. She was off the chain as it relates to the injustices, with minorities, and just educating us on how we should educate our children, the youth, about the judicial system. But you want to make sure that you have people before the audience who are serious and have a record. So on Saturdays, they're trailblazers. I don't even consider myself a trailblazer by my own standards. So when people say, well, I want to be on the show, great. It may not be Saturday for the trip. Those are women who have made a name for themselves. Let's face it, it's business. Because when people Google the Honorable Stephanie Morales or Sabrina Wu, LaToya Salter, or Dawn Bell, I want them to land on my website. So it's business. It has nothing to do with me not thinking you have a voice to say. And someone taught me that, so it's a win-win, as I have the Regina Marshiders and everybody who comes on as a trailblazer. But, during the week, that's when I'm a little bit more relaxed and we can have other people. So I'm for everybody, because I'm starting out. I thank y'all for having me. I'm starting out just like everybody else. So I don't feel that I ranked this interview. I'm grateful, and I took it seriously and gave it my best. But at any rate, I would say by my own standards, I don't consider myself a trailblazer yet. Others will see me that way, but by my own standard for my trailblazers. So that's what I share with someone if they feel slighted. And I said, I'm not there yet either. I'm interviewing the trailblazers. So that's my role. That's my role.
Go ahead and get your Oprah on, girl.
But I also want to share that I like I would say my gift is I know how I get this with each person that I interview. We're professional. I'm so proud of that. And I don't mean me and Tamika, the co-host. I mean the women. There's such a sweet spirit about the women of Girlfriends. They're pleasant. They're mannerable. I mean, I just love it. And I don't want that to be ruined. I'm glad that we're a private group for now. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth is the best form of advertisement. So the women, I just had one invite 113 women in one day. And that's not abnormal. I've had a couple of others do the same, because they're like, we want you to join this group. We want you to join this group because it's a win-win for everyone. So, when people are disappointed, I'm not usually asked to be in an interview. They're disappointed. I say, turn that around, because as you approach me, I'm going to remember that. And I have, and I've asked them, I want you to be on this panel, or I want you to. So I'm trying to start like CNN, how they have their correspondents, that come on all the time. I'm learning who, as they interact in the tea room, I'm learning who the experts are. Lori Butts, she's an attorney. So I asked her to come on to talk about the process for filing against the victims of domestic violence. What is the criminal process? What can you expect? And women have to weigh that. If this is your husband, or if this is your partner that you're living with, or your child's father, you have to weigh jail time as far as that income going away from your family. And that's not something that anyone should have to consider, but it's something that you have to weigh.
Okay. Something you have to weigh. Wow. So this is intriguing, and I'm going to refer a lot of people. I think I will go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
I value what you're bringing to the table, and what I really enjoyed was that strategy. You dropped a little hint of strategy
on the website.
Right. When they Google Stephanie Morales, I want them to find Girlfriend's Tea.
Or anybody. It's business. It's business. It doesn't mean that I mean, I say, who am I to say that, you don't qualify? I would never say that. Every woman is a trailblazer. Every woman is a trailblazer. We all, every male, every person, we all have a story. And I do believe that with all my heart. There's so many women that I admire. I could never run out of people to interview. So I value each of them. And as they share that with me, I do remember it. And then as I get to know, because some of them I don't really know well enough to even gauge that. And that's another thing with the trailblazers. They're already out there. I've had Dr. Angela Reddix recently. I mean, outstanding. They're already out there. They're already on social media. I can watch their interviews. So I don't have much to, but when I don't know you, then it makes it kind of difficult for me to evaluate that. So as I get to know you, then it makes a difference for me.
Good stuff. Hey, Conrad, any last words? This has been eye-opening.
Very, very illuminating. I appreciate the model of Girlfriend's Tea and the idea that it has so much growth personally, but also community-wise. You're doing a lot for the community via your show. So I definitely want you to keep going and make it as grand as possible. And of course, thank you personally for wanting to come on ours tonight.
And thank you for mentioning, Conrad, I'm sorry, that community, because one of the members of Girlfriend's Tea, her friend lost her house, burned down completely in the fire. I didn't know this, you all, but some homeowners insurance companies, if you have a vicious dog and they find out about it, even though the dog doesn't have any record, they'll drop your homeowner's policy. And that's what they did with this lady. And her house ended up catching fire and the dog notified her. But anyway, she told me about it. And I actually put it in Girlfriend's Tea that, we have someone who's really in need. And people from South Carolina, because it's not just Virginia. The demographics for Girlfriend's Tea is 45 to 64. And most of them, 90+% reside in Hampton Roads. But we have about 5 countries represented in Girlfriend's Tea. So I'm very proud of that. But at any rate, it is a community. And I just want to emphasize that, Conrad. I'm not going to use that platform for that. That was an exception. But, when it's laid on my heart, I'll do it. But I'll try to keep it on my personal page and away from the business page. But I also have a business page, girlfriendsteas.square.site, where my products are, Seko. I want to get that in.
Okay.
Girlfriendsteas.square.site.
Okay, so you have a Square
I hope
site.
I said it right. Yes, Square site.
Okay, so
I hope I said it right. Girlfriendsteas.square.site. I hope I gave it to you right, or it's the other way around. I just started it less than 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I think we're there.
There it is. Okay.
I think we're there.
That is the site.
So tell us about these products.
Well, the mugs, the jackets, the hats. I like the Good Trouble hat. That's new. We want to get into good trouble. We want to ruffle feathers and by fighting for justice for someone and making sure that injustices are corrected. So I love Good Trouble. And Girlfriend's Tea had, of course, Trailblazer. I said everybody's a trailblazer, every woman. And the jackets. I just found out today that the fulfillment center that I'm using will no longer have the black handle mugs. So I'm not happy. So I have to take the black handle mugs off for now and get another vendor. But we have a tote bag, a polo shirt. I did a spoken word album so many years ago with Keith Cephas as my photographer.
Yo, that's my dude.
Yeah, Keith Cephas, he's gonna be on my website. I have them on my team. Keith Cephas, Dennis Guerrero, and Candy, makeup artist Candice. I have them on the site.
All right. So
and my website will be premiere. So I hope that you all will come to the premiere of my website. That's going to be next Thursday. Yes, I mean, it'll be on my Facebook page and on the live. I'm looking at the temporary page now because I value all of the trailblazers. So I want to make sure Toy, Stephanie Glennis, Arabia, Lisa Kratz Thomas, outstanding motivational speaker. I mentioned Becky Van Vellen, Dr. Don Bell, Councilwoman Wooten, Lady Janine McBath, Regina Marshall. I got them all. Paulette Staten, Deborah Vines, Dr. Pat McLean, excellent podiatrist and young living executive, Olga. And then I had some more after that, the more recent ones, Dr. Angela Reddix, Aisha Champs. Y'all probably saw Aisha Champs. She was the attorney that had 5 children. She's an attorney now, and she beat all odds and became an attorney. And she was on Steve Harvey's show. So it's been a blast. And I had Toya Sosa. I know y'all know Toya.
All right, so you are getting the A-listers.
to me, they're the I feel that way. I'm getting the 757 A-listers. I'm talking, beyond, like on a national level. But yeah, I feel I'm honored. I'm honored to have interviewed those women. I'm honored to have the body of supporters that we have in Girlfriends Tea. And I believe there are A-listers in the audience. But when I ask, I say I need an attorney or I need a nurse. That's how I'll get to know them. And I asked them to give me their data, everybody in Girlfriends Tea, but they haven't done it yet. I said, just send me your resume and we can connect. So that tells me they're okay. They're okay. We're just here to support you, Sebrina. We're not looking for anything. So I'm very open to working with everyone.
All right. Well, it looks like it's time for us to bring this episode of the Beach Brothers Show with Sebrina from Girlfriends Tea to a close. Congratulations for all your success, all your achievements, all the great things that you're doing in Hampton Roads and, for the rest of our beautiful country, United States of America, and for the world. You have people from other countries who are tapping in. That's beautiful.
Yes, Japan. I have to change the time. Blanca, Kingsley and Blanca will be with us. Blanca's been with us before, but they're going to come. They're philanthropists. And so they're part of my couples series. I'm going to start having couples. I'll have a couple again in February. And so I'm just mixing it up a little bit. And I've yet to do a major panel, but I'll start getting into panels. Most of my interviews are one-on-one.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Later.
Thank you, everyone.
This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting services. We do credit fixes. We do tax resolution. We lend private money and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, we're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated. Take care.